That's what we're about to find out here on Cosmic Sapphire. We're in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner. We have the blue Protoss player coming out from the Netherlands. He, of course, is going to be representing Shopify Rebellion, capital Harstem.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire ESL, we have the Vietnamese Zerg player himself, the Oceania and rest of Asia representative representing the Juggernauts. It is MeomaikA.
Early lair?
Going for the pool first.
He is going for the pool first, yeah.
Oh boy. I mean, again, in a very MeomaikA fashion, he does this very often, if not every single ZVP period. Very rarely does he go hatch first. It's just not in his nature unless it's a ZVZ. Does happen there. We haven't seen a ZVZ yet from him today.
Ooh. Yeah, but he's not one-basing it by any means. Is able to expand in natural base probe, not giving that drone too much trouble, which is nice to see. It's a very polite probe.
Yeah. MeomaikA does get his natural up and running. Meanwhile, Harstem, he is patrolling here with his probe. He wants to make sure, okay, you do finish up your spawning pool. Are you going to be making links behind this? Are you going to be doing anything else crazy, taking extra gases, throwing down a fast roach warren? What exactly are you up to?
Well, it's a little too early to find out, but it pays to remain vigilant here. Harstem, after 2 games against MeomaikA, knows this more than most others. I didn't really want to say more than any other, because there are a couple of players who have beef, but yeah, Harstem knows what he has to do here.
Yeah, exactly. Remain vigilant. And so far, the probe confirms, okay, 2 links are coming out. What's interesting is that this isn't very committed from MeomaikA. You either make 2 links, 4 links, or 6, and he only makes 2. So again, doesn't really have an intention of really dealing too much damage with these links. And because Harstem sees 2 links, he doesn't make a zealot. He doesn't overreact. Like, he's just chilling here, waiting for his adept.
Yeah, a little bit wide open, but at the same time, he also knows that MeomaikA hasn't committed too much into Ling, so he's not too worried if a Ling or 2 slips in through the cracks.
Yeah, now MeomaikA is looking to take his 3rd base, again, on time, on location. Nothing weird going on at all so far here. And from the side of Harstem, as we have seen in every PvZ so far tonight, he is going for the Stargate opener.
Yeah, nice and safe. He likes to continue to go for that. Will he go for a Void Ray this time, or will he continue to go for Oracles and Stalkers? That's to be determined. There we go.
Yeah, interesting choice. He goes for a Void Ray, which means he won't have as much scouting information. He's not too concerned with dealing damage. He's more concerned with clearing out these Overlords and denying the vision of MeomaikA.
Well, I can't say I blame him, Light. I'm looking at the main base right now on Cosmic Sapphire. It's kind of hard to cover up all the blind spots.
It really is. So the Void Ray is going to be looking to hunt down these Overlords. Meanwhile, across the map, MeomaikA does go for a very fast lair. And again, from this lair, we've seen a couple of different things. We've seen, very quick Hydras, a Hydrogen thrown down. We've seen a Nidus as well for any kind of all-in. MeomaikA is droning up a little bit here, though. So again, it's still not entirely clear as to what this lair is for, especially because he is throwing down spores.
He can't be going for Hydras again, right?
I feel like
he may.
I feel like he should. We'll see. So far, the first Overlord does get hunted down by this Void Ray. The Lings are trying to find a way in. They check, confirm. There is no 3rd. There is a 3rd. It's just not where those Lings checked. Not the linear 3rd, the triangular one instead.
Which does make it a little bit easier to defend, I think, for the Protoss player. And we saw a ZVP between Mana and Sola earlier on, where if you do block off one of these paths, then yeah, you're kind of painting a target for where the Zerg player should send forces over and over again. So yeah, I'm glad that Harstem's keeping his options open.
I'm not gonna lie, it's been such a long day of StarCraft. I forgot that we casted that. I forgot about the fifth that just was never meant to be.
I did as well until I saw Harstem expanding this way, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I got the PTSD flashbacks.
I've
I'm like,
seen,
no!
I've seen this before. Meanwhile, the Oracle goes in, it does get a tag, and does reveal that indeed it is another Hydra opening here from, or Hydra follow-up from MeomaikA. But what's interesting is that sure, he has a Hydra Den, sure, he's getting upgrades, but he is droning up, and he is getting a Roach Horn to accompany this as well.
Yeah, this is nowhere near as all-in as it was when they last encountered. And this is definitely very interesting. It's been a while since I think we've really seen straight-up Roach Hydra in a ZVP. It's, you know, usually have a couple more things thrown in with that.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, so far, MeomaikA has done a great job at keeping his worker count alive. He's actually got a higher drone count than his opponent, than Harstem. What's important, though, is that we did have a Robo follow-up. I thought it was very peculiar because usually it's a Twilight Council. Instead, with this Robo, he went to a very quick Robotic Spay, and he's going straight into Disruptors.
I see Harstem has embraced the chaos a little bit here, but he's still staying sane. A little bit sane. He is getting a Twilight Council eventually, but he's just going for Disruptors to keep him safe against any potential Roach aggression coming his way.
Yeah, and honestly, I really love it. I'll be honest, MeomaikA hates Disruptors.
He does.
We've heard from his
Disruptors,
interviews...
Banelings...
Yeah, we've heard from his interviews in the past that Disruptors, he hates them with a passion in this matchup because they can, doesn't matter how much supply you have, they can absolutely decimate whatever ground army you are working with. And I love that Harstem is prioritizing Disruptors over something like really rounding out his Gateway army, and we'll see how good those Novas are going to be as MeomaikA is clearing out the rocks in the center of the map.
Well, I can already see a couple of Disruptors here, Light, and I can see it so clearly.
Exactly.
How the Zerg army's gonna mass up. Void Ray does get taken out, but that's a Void Ray that is, that's not really gonna hurt Harstem too much.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice pick up from MeomaikA, but not really too impactful as MeomaikA is working on these rocks. Meanwhile, he has to be careful. Two Disruptors are already ready and waiting.
They're ready and waiting on the high ground. They're just waiting for MeomaikA to overextend. Goliath Reconstitution and Muscular Augments did finish up, so, you know, MeomaikA is able to retreat, but he really wants to make this work. You can see it in his eyes.
He really does. Harstem does have vision of the army. He does see that it rotates over to the right-hand side of the map. Instead, we do have a Stasis Trap already ready and waiting. And now, ooh, we don't see a Nova yet. Harstem being very patient with his Disruptors.
Yeah, he knows he doesn't have too many of them. He needs to make them count.
Oh, exactly. Meanwhile, I love this Oracle coming out here for Harstem. Going to be dishing out a little bit of damage here across the map. Meanwhile, MeomaikA flirting a little bit. Does get two of his Roaches force fielded.
Yeah, it feels like he's trying to bait out a couple of those Novas, which Harstem doing a good job of not taking that bait.
Yeah, speaking of baiting out, the Stasis Trap does get baited here outside the third base. The rocks are being dealt with, so now it's going to be a little bit easier to push on in. But again, MeomaikA also really respecting the Disruptors, and because of that, the Disruptor count is getting higher.
I feel like in the first two series, the first 4 games we've casted, it was pretty much trademark MeomaikA, you know, 2015 up till 2020 MeomaikA. This is a little bit of the evolved Meo in a way, you know. It's the MeomaikA who has gone back to basics a little bit and went back to the drawing board. The Disruptors are so exposed, but the Roaches do not have an opportunity to jump on them. Instead, the Stalkers, they seize the opportunity. They blink right on top of every single Roach.
Yeah, but you know what? That exposes the fourth base as well. MeomaikA's main army is pushing on in. The Disruptors were a little bit out of position. The Roaches are coming in from behind.
It's surrounded. Will the Nova?
Oh,
the Nova will go off.
Yeah, it does go off. Roaches coming from behind, but again, the Disruptor shots, they're just a little bit too good. Harstem does hold on to his fourth base. Not without losing 13 probes, though, here at his own fourth.
Is it going to happen again? Is this base just never going to get up? Well, no, Harstem should have enough defenses to keep that going. Army supplies are just about even at the moment, and that always favors the Protoss player, so Harstem feeling confident enough to push out.
Yeah, exactly. We do see that MeomaikA's trying to bait out more of those Novas. He does connect again with more Hydras. Lings are doing some decent damage, but it doesn't look like there is enough here on the ground for MeomaikA.
Yeah, MeomaikA needs to calm the hell down.
Yeah, and he does back off in the end. He is, again, trying to regroup his army, trying to get more Lings, trying to get more Roaches, but again, pushing in here against Disruptors, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, not with this army.
Yeah,
be nice to see him tech up from here, but yeah, that's just not what he's going for.
Yeah, he's just being zoned out. Another Nova goes off as well, gets a decent connection. MeomaikA trying to dive on him, but again, like the disruptors just continue to keep him at bay.
Yeah, they're pretty much serving the purpose of these well, I say that. What I mean is, disruptors, you know, usually you get them, and mostly you just expect them to zone out the Zerg army. Harstem is doing that, and also getting a couple of pickoffs here and there with these Novas.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's trading so well. The fourth base of MeomaikA goes down. MeomaikA tries to dive on this, but oh, the Nova goes off! A juicy connection on top of the majority of those roaches.
That honestly feels like the beginning of the end here, but now we get another juicy connection. GG is called. Harstem adapts against his opponent and now has one up on him.
He does. In a much more standard game, Harstem shows that he has what it takes to take down a player like MeomaikA. Just a solid defense overall until he gets a large enough army, a large enough disruptor count, then he feels confident to move out across the map. And MeomaikA is just stuck with this weird lair tech army. Lings, roaches, hydras. He was trying to work towards an infestation pit and a hive later on, but the transition was a little bit late.
Yeah, very late, without a doubt. As that's one thing you do kind of notice about MeomaikA after a while. He works so well. His style works so well when he has momentum, but if you can stall that momentum by a little bit, that's going to have a knock-on effect, and Harstem didn't just stall the momentum of MeomaikA, he put a brick wall up in front of him.
Pretty much, mate, pretty
with
much.
Those purification Novas.
I mean, I do appreciate that MeomaikA did switch things up. I did not expect that Hydra timing that worked in the previous series to work again. So, and MeomaikA's aware of that, so he does have other things up his sleeve. But unfortunately, this was more standard play. It was a little bit unexpected because it was standard. But, yeah, it's not really his strong suit.
Yeah. But we'll see if there's something else in store here, or maybe, since he's up 1-0 in the series, it's Harstem's turn. It's Harstem's turn to pull a fast one of Mio, as we load the Tropical Sacrifice. We're here in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand. We have the Red Zerg player coming out for the land of Vietnam. He is, of course, going to be representing the Juggernauts. He is MeomaikA.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Tropical Sacrifice ESL, we have the Blue Protoss player hailing from the land of the Netherlands and representing Shopify Rebellion, currently up 1-0 in this best of 3 series. It is Harstem.
Land of the Nether.
Exactly, with a strong showing already. I'm sure winning game number 1 does help him out mentally as well. If he was tilted from the previous series, now I'm sure he is full of confidence.
Yeah, he's gotta be. But, at the same time, he's not taking his chances.
Yeah, he goes across the map with his probe, is going to be confirming that, holds on, this hatchery is looking a little bit late.
Oh, pylon!
Yeah, it goes for the pylon block. Going to go into the main, confirm that it was a pull first.
You love to see it, as a Protoss player. Harstem, he knows he's established a little bit of control here in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Just forcing MeomaikA to take the unnatural natural. Harstem has to be careful because he doesn't have eyes on the actual base. And okay, thankfully he is going to go check because again, it's MeomaikA. Like, you know, it isn't a sure thing. Yeah. Exactly, exactly. You got to be careful.
You never really know, but, I mean, we can kind of guess that he's going to go for another early lair.
And it is usually what he does love working with. Meanwhile, 2 Lings do move out across the map. We have 2 more behind this, so a bit of a bigger commitment here this time from MeomaikA, looking to deal a little bit of damage. This base is looking a little bit exposed. Maybe he can just slip on in. I don't know how many probe kills he can realistically get, but he's going to try.
With 4 Lings, it can't be too many. From the way I'm looking at it. MeomaikA, there we go, I was waiting for... He was holding on to a little bit of gas, but now he is getting his link speed and is continuing on.
Yeah, he is. And all 4 Lings do get into the main base. Already chipping away at one of those probes. Going to be chipping away and annoying the gas mining probes as well. So far, the control has been great from Harstem. He hasn't lost anything yet. Oh! Ooh.
Yeah, just a single probe.
One probe goes down. These Lings are so low. With the adept. Oh, can he get a second?
Ooh,
He will.
2 probes and 3 in total, I believe.
Yeah, 3 probes for 4 Lings. To be fair, one of those probes was scouting across the map,
yeah.
and it did intend to die. Not the worst here from MeomaikA, not the worst. The scary thing is that once you throw away those Lings, it means that this adept has a little bit less to worry about. So MeomaikA is forced to make another wave of Lings, and hopefully he doesn't lose too much here to the harassing adept.
Yeah, you pretty much give up your map control when you do decide to YOLO the Lings a little bit like that.
Exactly, and we'll see if the adept can even make it into the main base as well. We do have that fast lair that we were talking about. We see it every single game here from MeomaikA, and this adept is going to confirm it.
Alright, but how much does this tell Harstem? Because he knows there could be a lot of different things coming out from an early lair.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, ooh, the recall was just in time. Does keep that adept alive. It was a Stargate opener, but was a Void Ray first. So again, just like last time, Harstem is more concerned with killing Overlords with supply blocking MeomaikA. Lings go across the map, and they will confirm that an Oracle is coming out next.
Yeah, we talk about, stalling the momentum here of the Zerg player, and supply blocking them, that's probably one of the single most effective ways you can do that.
Yeah, it really can be. And MeomaikA is going back to his old tricks. He is going for a fast Hydra Den. I don't think he's going to be playing this out macro-wise like we saw in game number 1. I do think he intends to hit a time.
Yeah, and I do feel like Tropical Sacrifice is a better map to pull it off on than Cosmic Sapphire is, just because of the rush distance. But you also got to imagine Harstem's going to be a bit more prepared for it, right?
Yeah!
Right? I say that. But, he did scout this in the initial game they played, and it still didn't really go his way, so
Yeah.
who knows?
That's the thing, right? Like, has he been able to learn in such a short period of time? Interesting, once again, as we do have a couple of drones going down. Once again, he's going for a Robo follow-up, not a Twilight Council. It looks like, just like the previous game, he intends to go into the much faster robotic spade.
Yeah, conventional wisdom would tell you that charge lots are the counter to Hydralisk, but Harstem tried that in the previous series, and it didn't work out for him, so I'm liking this a lot more. Disruptors and Colossus, you can't really go wrong with either of those to take out Hydras.
Yeah, it's interesting because this is like the response that we used to see for Queen pushes, if you remember. Like, Disruptors were really what shut that down. More often than not, with the help of Void Rays. So it's interesting that Harstem is reverting to that as a response to Hydras. Speaking of, there is that robotic space. So again, this should be for Disruptors. And I think this is going to work well. And again, we have to rely a lot more on MeomaikA to respond and to split against them.
Yeah, I'm not entirely convinced that... I fear for MeomaikA, he might not be expecting to face Disruptors once again, but this is absolutely... probably the best response from Harstem against something like a Hydra push.
Yeah, quickly checking the vision. MeomaikA hasn't gone into the natural base. He hasn't seen the tech. He hasn't seen anything. He doesn't know what the follow-up is going to be. Hydras are moving out across the map, but they are tagged. They are spotted not just by the Oracle, but also by the Observer.
And you gotta wonder how happy Harstem is to see the Hydras coming his way. Because they are annoying, but he does want to, he has a better response to them now.
Yeah, we have 4 shield batteries on the way. We have 2 cannons as well. The first Disruptor is going to pop out in time for this attack. And I feel like the first Nova is going to really tell the tale of how this defense is going to be.
Yeah, Groove Spines hasn't finished up yet here for MeomaikA, so he's going to have a little bit more trouble trying to, snipe these key units from a distance. Disruptor's coming down the ramp! Does it expose itself? Ooh. Not quite.
No, it doesn't, but it does signal to MeomaikA, okay, you have Disruptors, have to be that much more careful, have to be that much more on point.
And so far, he is pretty decently on point. He's taking out some of these probes as they come down. The Nova does not land. Good split from MeomaikA, but there's more where that came from for Harstem.
Exactly, the 7-second Nova goes off as well. What's important is that the first overcharge was popped, so MeomaikA, he respects it, he sees the overcharge, he will back off, and now he's looking to dive back in.
There's a lot of open ground right now, and it's the ideal position for Zerg to fight, which is exactly why we see Harstem not take any of the bait that Mio is throwing his way. A couple of good pickoffs on the Hydralisk. Hey, not a super juicy connection, but Hydras are so expensive at this point in the game. Even if you can take out one at a time, it's going to be worth it.
Speaking of, 3 more Hydras go down as well. Harstem, like, he has just slowed down this push, and MeomaikA, he's forced to back on up. He is droning.
Yeah, I will say that his transition is a lot quicker this time than it was previously, but the momentum is very much swung in Harstem's favor. He is more than comfortable pushing out right now.
Yeah, exactly. And MeomaikA, does he have enough to defend? He loses another handful of Overlords. Harstem, has he overextended? That's kind of the big question here. Oh my god, with these Novas, I guess not.
Yeah, he would have overextended if the Novas didn't land.
Oh no!
But they did, and another one lands so well.
Exactly. Lings are going to get a little bit of a surround, but with these sentries, with the Void Rays as well, with the reinforcing disruptors, it looks like Harstem is going to be able to deflect this beautifully. And back at home, we do have that Hive on the way. That is going to be a bit of a game changer. If MeomaikA can get his hands on some Vipers, then he can finally start fighting back against the disruptors and the Void Rays.
Yeah, a couple of good yoinks, especially yoinks as the Purification Novas get thrown out just to cancel them. But it's kind of tricky microing Vipers against that many Void Rays.
Yeah, this is such an awkward composition from Harstem, but I mean it's working, right? It's very off meta, but he's playing someone off meta. So yeah, it makes plenty of sense. He's working on +1 air attack as well. He is working eventually to head towards charge as well. +1 melee is on the way. So yeah, Harstem is doing a great job so far at establishing his 4 bases. MeomaikA still has a ways to go before Hive finishes, and oh my god, he only just now starts +1 range.
I just realized that. Wow.
Yeah, oof.
It's going to be so far behind, but to be fair, I mean, the way this game has played out, a lot of tech has been delayed. You know, Harstem only now finishing up +1 weapons, but the big difference is he's also getting charge. He also finished air weapons. Harstem's tech was delayed, but he got a lot of them. He got a lot of them at the same time. MeomaikA, not so much.
And I'm really worried because Harstem is looking to hit here and now. 4 Vipers are on the way, and that's great and all, but MeomaikA, he doesn't have time to get them.
Yeah, they're only about halfway done now. They still need to suck on some energy to be able to be useful in this fight. This is a really good position for MeomaikA, so I'm glad he is able to, you know, force Harstem into a bit of an awkward position, but the army is starting to dive in. The Novas will land a little bit. But we have Archons now. We have way more Void Rays to worry about. Things have just gotten from bad to worse here for our Red Zerg player.
Yeah, the Vipers come out and all 4 of them die immediately. GG gets called, and Harstem, he gets his revenge. He takes the series 2-0.
Harstem coming down here saying, "You can't fool me twice, mate."